Car Palooza, the Ringer Wise guys in person, in studio. It has happened. John Jastremski, Raheem Palmer, Joe House, Cousin Sal. We got all the ins and outs. We are so fired up and ready to go, guys. Sal, you picked me up. It's 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you greet me watching what, European soccer? You really are a sick. You know what?
I'm awake. I have to have action. That's the real football. EPL. No. This is the real football. I'm excited, JJ. I'm excited to be in the same room as you guys. Although I just caught myself on the monitor. I look way too fat. So I'm going home back to my Zoom box.
Well, I'll
enjoy.
Get you running with me on Manhattan Beach before we get ready for the games at 1:30 and 4. I can't even keep track of the time because I'm in East Coast time. Can you believe, Joe House, we have done 10 zillion podcasts together. This is the first instance Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and John Jastremski are in the same room. How about that?
It's amazing. East Coast bias. We all love each other, and I like the opportunity to lunge at you. You know, if I don't like something or a dream, I can just punch him right in the arm.
Just don't Will Smith and slap me like at the Oscars. I don't need that.
I don't know. I mean, that might be good for the content hashtag,
Maybe.
right?
Be careful.
I don't want no smoke with House.
I'm
scared.
Do I need to put a divider between the two of you guys?
We won't need that. It's all love on this end.
Well, I like this.
People are always so impressed about how tall House is when they meet him. It's everybody to the
House, what are you, 6'4",
I think it was like a Danny DeVito
like
type.
6'3", but you know the Jays take it up.
By the way,
half
you
an inch.
came to play with the sneaker game.
Thank
Hopefully, fellas, you came to play as far as the picks are concerned.
Oh,
we have a
what a
loaded
transition.
card for Ringer Wise guys on this Saturday. We'll have our wisest wagers. We'll have some family meals as far as teasers, parlays, all that good stuff. Let's start with game one right out of the gate. You have the Cleveland Browns as road favorites taking on the Houston Texans. Wisest wager? Do we have graphics? It's so weird being in person and having this stuff actually come your way. Here it is. Let's see it. Let's see some graphics. Yes. Wow. There we go. We're wising it up. Sal, we start with you.
Where's my camera? I'm just,
you want to one
you know,
shot?
I'm just going to gaze into Raheem's eyes.
That's it.
For the whole 58
I like the
minutes.
sound of that.
We are competing on our picks today. So you
okay,
can
all right.
we can get a nice little
I'll look
stare
away.
down.
Now we can actually go with a new title, the playoff champion of the first ever Ringer Wise Guys show. Browns road favorites. I know you and I were big on Cleveland going back to the preseason. Never in our wildest dreams did we think that Joe Flacco would be starting in the postseason. Here we are. Who you liking?
This is the Shakey's game. They always put Houston in the early Saturday spot. 7 times in a row they've made the playoffs, and this is when they play. This is I think you win the Matt Schaub trophy for this, so they get this time slot. Normally, I would say the superior quarterback at home getting points is a no-brainer. But what Flacco has done, he really hot. 13 touchdowns over the last 5 games. He averages 330. I think we see a big Amari Cooper game. Remember, he caught 2 touchdown passes against Houston on Christmas Eve when they beat him without Stroud. And now he's going against, again, the 23rd ranked pass defense. I'm taking Cleveland minus the points. I know people love them a little too much in this spot. But if I have to pick between the two, I like Cleveland. Everyone's penciling them in against Baltimore in a potential, 1-5 matchup. I still think they're superior. They're 8-1 when favored by 2 or more points. They win a 26-20 type game. Browns get to the next round.
You know, fellas, it's interesting. It feels like there are 2 teams this weekend that kind of profile as the popular public choice. Don't you get the sense everybody's on the Browns' house and everybody's on the Los Angeles Rams tomorrow?
Yes.
I just feel like we're in that boat.
Yep.
I know for your wisest wager, House, you're playing it a little different. You're not taking a side, but you're playing a total.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the position of C.J. Stroud in his debut playoff game, coming out and showing the world that he is that guy. I don't want to look back and say, I missed out. C.J., I should have seen it coming. So I'm playing the total. I like a lot of points in this game. Every Browns road game went over this season. There are dramatic splits in their defense in terms of what they give up when they're at home and versus when they're on the road. The average total of Browns road games was 51 points. Both of these teams.
Different team, home and road, right? Defensively,
reason,
just totally different.
Now, I mean, part of that has to do with which one of their 5 quarterbacks was playing at any given point in time, I'm sure. But look, both teams in the top 8 in terms of time of possession per play. So they just get going points-wise. The Browns, here's the thing that I especially like about the over here. The version of the offense with Flacco is very different than the version of the offense that existed for the first 2/3 of the season.
Oh, let's be honest, it's better.
Way better.
It's much better.
That's right. He led the NFL in passing attempts and passing touchdowns weeks 13 to 17. And, you know, they're scoring almost 29 points a game with Flacco. So give me the over. Let's have a bunch of points. Let's get out there and get cooking.
We want points to start off the day. We don't want to be sitting there watching 17-3 or something lousy.
Especially because we got the cold weather games coming up, and you know you're going to see 10-7 in the fourth quarter.
A couple unders maybe in Miami and Kansas City, and maybe an under as far as Buffalo and Pittsburgh. But, Raheem, we have a Cleveland play. We have an overplay. It's fair to say you're going contrarian, so the floor is yours.
Oh, without a doubt, I'm going with the Houston Texans. Look, this line doesn't make sense. A couple of weeks ago, in Week 16, the Texans played the Cleveland Browns. What did that line close as? It closed as Texans +3. So how can that line be Texans +2.5 now with C.J. Stroud playing? Like, this guy is a much better quarterback than Davis Mills and Case Keenum. So this line should be a pick'em. And if you ask me, this Browns defense does not travel on the road. They're giving up almost 30 points per game on the road compared to 14 at home. Now, you look at the Browns. They're 8-1 at home. They were 3-5 on the road this season. Guess who the quarterbacks they beat? Gardner Minshew, Davis Mills, Case Keenum. And two of their wins required a last-second comeback to the Colts and the Ravens. So this is a completely different team on the road. You also look at some of the offenses the Browns face. Who have they faced? Like, I know they faced the Ravens, but they faced the 49ers when Brock Purdy had a concussion, CMC and Debo was hurt. And they also played the Bengals. But outside of that, they haven't played a top-tier offense in the top 17. So this offense with C.J. Stroud is probably going to be one of the best offenses that they've faced all year outside of the Ravens and an injured 49ers team. Also, I know a lot of people are talking about Flacco, but he's thrown an interceptable pass on 4% of his.
He's thrown an interception in this game.
Yeah.
You'd almost bet the house on
C.J. Stroud is only throwing an interceptable pass on 1% of his pass plays. So I just think with all of this, the Browns not playing as well defensively, C.J. Stroud being in, Texas is going to win this game outright.
So I get the contrarian angle. Here's what I keep going back to. I watched that Houston-Indianapolis game, what was it, on Saturday night? Felt like Indianapolis was the better team, fellas, in that football game. I mean, they execute a fourth down play. Gardner Minshew makes a better throw. The backup running back catches the ball. Maybe we were talking about Indy playing Cleveland in this spot. And here's what I know about Joe Flacco. Boys, he does not lose in the wild card round. I know it's a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But going back to 2008, when Joe Flacco has been a quarterback of a team, he is undefeated when he plays wild card weekend. And I just am a sucker for the storyline, Raheem. I know, listen, D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, they have had a remarkable first year with the Houston Texans. But I just think Cleveland is the more well-rounded team. I'm going to go with the hot Joe Flacco. I cannot believe I am saying the hot Joe Flacco, road favorite, public side, which is usually very unlike me, fellas. But I don't think Joe Flacco's losing this game. And Sal, I want to see Flacco against his former team next Saturday.
Well, yeah, barring an upset on the other side.
Actually, no, I don't, because I want the Dolphins to win. So I want the Dolphins
no, you
to
said
win.
it. You already said it. You want the Dolphins.
You're on
Don't take back to this point.
Don't take back.
But to Raheem's point, though, it's almost unfair that Flacco could probably throw 2 interceptions in this game, and it might not hurt them as much as Stroud's 1 interception would, you know?
Yeah,
like, I feel like down the stretch, if he turns it over, that could be the difference. But Flacco's interceptions are baked into his stats.
Yeah, I totally agree. The one thing I say about that Indianapolis-Houston game is that was a playoff game. So if we're worried about C.J. Stroud as a rookie quarterback in playoff circumstances, right, we have one. He's knocked off the rust, and he has 2 monumental games on his resume now. The semifinal last year against Georgia in college football.
Played great that game.
Right. So we have proof of concept that he can be that guy. 7 of 7 on the drive that scored the game-winning touchdown. So this is why I don't want to pick a side. I just want to be.
So you want points? Points.
Yeah, I think House has the sharpest wager with the over.
Okay. Trends. You're usually a trend guy. A lot of the trends, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. Raheem, they're not great ATS historically.
They aren't, but they are a little bit better when it's a home underdog versus a road underdog.
No, I got you.
And then also, there's another trend. If you look at rookie head coaches, They are 8-6 straight up and 9-5 against the spread.
Well, and there are some examples, right? I think about Rex and Mark Sanchez. They won in Cincinnati. They went all the way to an AFC title game. Joe Flacco, John Harbaugh, a long time ago, 2008, beat Miami, beat Tennessee, found their way to an AFC title game. I do think we're going to have points in this game, though, fellas. So I think the way we can attack this is take the team you like, parlay it with the over, and let's have one hell of a day. So.
What about this? I know it's a regular season award, Coach of the Year, but you got 1 and 2 right here, right? It's either Stefanski or Ryans. Postpone it a week. Whoever wins this game takes home the hardware. That's what I say.
Well, to me, no nonsense. Stefanski's the Coach of the Year.
What if they lose by? What if they lose by 17?
I don't care. You have 5 different quarterbacks that you get into the postseason. 5. How can you ignore that?
You counting that last thing they put on the field there, Driscoll?
Yeah, he counts.
Okay. All right.
He counts. So rumor has it, Sal, that a certain someone ended up winning a Wisest wager.
Speaking of Jeff Driscoll, yes.
So momentarily, we are going to award you with your prize.
Yeah, why does this take so long?
2023
11 minutes
regular season Wisest wager. You beat out Raheem Palmer by the hair of your chinny chin chin.
Yeah, I made it close. Yeah.
We have something for you.
All right.
Do you want to take bets on what we have?
What is this thing?
Here, let's see our trophy.
Oh, W. Oh, wow.
Here it comes.
Oh, this is Mikey Meatballs.
Wow.
My favorite boy. Look at this.
Can
Thank you, Mikey
for the rest of the
Meatballs.
show?
Of course. This is beautiful.
Wow, that is.
Oh,
sick.
man. And a
Look at that.
W. This is terrific. Are you guys, is this Weight Watchers? Is this a subtle thing? Because I said I'm fat on camera. What's wrong with you guys?
Don't blame me.
It's Fat January.
It's Fat January?
Yeah, Fat January. You're good.
So there's Dry January and Fat January.
Yeah, I've landed in Los Angeles yesterday. I haven't stopped eating.
Dry rub ribs. Well, I mean, can I thank a couple of people here?
Yeah, of course.
First
Let's hear your speech.
I would like to thank you guys for being so mediocre all year, and even subpar in JJ's case.
We finished 56%.
Is that what we were together? Yeah.
I thought it was a team effort.
This isn't about the team. This isn't about the team. Let me thank FanDuel TV for opening up this time slot right before the game. Oh, I'm just kidding. We're 6 hours before kickoff. Right, but anyway, I want to thank them. Who else do I want to thank? I want to thank you, Taylor. Where's my camera? Taylor, you're my muse. I love you, baby. Taylor is a PA that works for Spotify.
Oh, not Taylor
Swift? No.
I was going to say, when you said Taylor, I was like, isn't she in Kansas City later tonight?
And that's it. I don't know. Do I say something political now? I don't know how these awards things go. No.
Did they start playing the music and wrap it up?
Yes.
That's how it works.
Listen,
wrap it up.
I will cherish this for at least 25 more minutes before I throw it in the trash.
I look forward to seeing that on your set next year when we focus on year 2 of Ringer Wise Guys. All right, guys, we transition from the side of Cleveland and Houston to the props. And I'm going to start off the proceedings with the props. Joe freaking Flacco. We talked about the idea that there were going to be points in this game. Well, guys, I like Joe Flacco to go and throw for over 1.5 touchdown passes. I think he is going to be slinging it. I think you have seen with Kevin Stefanski's game plan, he's very comfortable with the idea of Joe Flacco making things happen. So that touchdown prop over 1.5, it's basically an even money. I like it. I'm going to parlay it with the Browns to win. A lot of different ways we can handicap these wild card games. So, Raheem, your prop, it's on the side of a passing standpoint with Cleveland, but not with Joe Flacco.
Yes, I'm going to go with Elijah Moore, over 38.5 receiving yards. Last time these two teams played, Amari Cooper, 11 receptions, 265 yards. And we know the Houston Texans aren't letting that happen again. You look at the Cleveland Browns, they are missing number 2 wide receiver, Cedric Tillman. So somebody has to get those receptions. It's going to be Elijah Moore. I think it's going to be a big day for him.
Well, I love it because remember, fellas, Elijah Moore and Joe Flacco have a connection going back to their days with the New York Jets. It's crazy. These guys were together. They were inept. The team was incompetent. They did nothing but lose. Now Elijah Moore and Joe Flacco are saying, thank goodness I don't have to wear a Jet uniform.
Yeah, if you ask them, they don't even acknowledge that time together.
I wouldn't either. I'd forget about it. But that chemistry and that rapport is there. We've seen Elijah Moore have some really solid performances. I like that. I think he's a guy to target, maybe to even go and score a touchdown like his over for receiving yards. House, what are we thinking?
I mean, this is a theme here, right? I'm going to another receiver, another popular target for Flacco. Now, this guy's the tight end, David Njoku, over 56.5 total receiving yards. He's averaged 75 yards a game, immediate chemistry with Joe Flacco. He has more than 90 yards in 3 of the games with Flacco. And after Amari Cooper, the first time these two teams played, 265 yards. I think Houston might conceive of a way of trying to redistribute some. So I think Njoku is going to be the beneficiary of that. At least 8 targets and 6 catches in each of his past 4 games with Flacco. 6 grabs in Houston in that Week 16 win. So I like, it's a thing here. We're looking at Joe Flacco throwing the ball all over the yard. I want points, and Njoku over 56.5 total receiving yards is my favorite prop of the week.
Okay, now, is there somebody we should be looking to avoid? Now I'm concerned because you're in on Njoku. You're in on Elijah Moore. Sal, I feel like a lot of people are going to be in on Amari Cooper. I feel like somebody is not going to go and get theirs for Cleveland.
Listen, here's the thing. Why, House? Why beat your brain trying to figure out how they're going to redistribute? When FanDuel has a prop, a special, plus 420. Good number. Njoku and Cooper to combine for 200 or more yards. Njoku 134 and 104. He had 2 games like that in the last few weeks. Cooper, as you guys mentioned 265 last time these two teams played, and 5 games over 100 yards against this bottom third pass defense. I like this one at plus 420. Njoku, if Laporta doesn't play, if Laporta does play, Njoku could still be the best tight end in these playoffs.
It's amazing how he has emerged over these last few weeks. This is a guy who was a monster at the University of Miami. A lot of people are looking at him as a major bust his first couple of years in the NFL.
Now you can't cover him.
Who knew? He just needed Joe Flacco to go and be his quarterback. We need to dive into this. I know it's not on a rundown. I know I'm going rogue. I know I'm going off script. We need a first touchdown bet.
Ooh.
We all need to get in the lab right now. And we have no research. We have no basis. This is me surprising my guys right now. I want your first reaction, first touchdown.
I'm going to go with a running back.
Are you taking Ford?
I'm taking Ford or maybe Singletary.
Nico.
Okay.
I like the over the top again.
We need a family play on this stuff. So
Well,
we're
all over the place. So let me check the odds real quick. Man, I think Cooper at plus 850 is a lot.
I was thinking Elijah Moore. What's Elijah Moore? He's got to be like 16, 17 to 1.
They don't even have him on here.
That's
no,
what
he's
I mean.
18 to 1. Yeah.
I feel like with first touchdown, you got to go with a dart throw now. Well, we got some time.
Well, it depends
We
if
can
you want to
figure
win
this
or not. Yeah.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I don't know. These are hot topics. I don't know. We got a lot.
Do you like the first touchdown bet?
We are terrible. We did it on Against All Odds, and we picked it. We do 4. There were 4 of us over 15 Thursday night games. I think we went like 4 and 66 or something. I know those numbers don't match up, but I usually like.
But if you hit 1 or 2 of those,
that's what I'm saying.
Long odds,
like 15 to 1, that makes up your whole season.
We like the tight. I know I'd pick Cooper here, but usually zone in on the tight ends for these.
Dalton Schultz, your guy.
Yeah. 2 Cowboy receiver left.
By the end of this show, I want a first touchdown United front for both games. So you could start thinking about that.
How are we
we're going to go with
this?
Travis Kelce for the next game.
No. Absolutely. Well,
I do have something
there
with
is
that.
something on that.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. You'll find out coming up in a matter of moments. Guys, let's get an email, as we love to do here on Ringer Wise Guys. It's time for Wise Guys. Please advise. Happy playoffs, one and all. My question isn't about a bet, but I can still use some wisdom from each of you. If you had to choose between Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, or Bill Belichick to be your favorite team's head coach next season, who are you taking? That's from Jay in Cincinnati. Well, Nick Saban, fellas, has not coached in the NFL since 2006 with the Miami Dolphins, so he is out. But I'll start with you, House. You have a choice. The greatest coach of all time, or a guy who didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the 1-yard line. Who are you choosing? I mean, come on.
I'm the only one in this panel whose team actually has a head coach vacancy.
Right.
And the answer is definitely none of the above. But if I must, I'll take Belichick, because I think he can help rehabilitate the worst defense in the history of the Washington franchise, and maybe in the history of the NFL.
On that subject, I saw earlier this morning, Ben Johnson, the Lion offensive coordinator, is the front runner, at least in Washington circles, to go and get that job. We talked about it on East Coast Bias. You were all in on Mike Vrabel.
I am.
Is With Ben Johnson, would you be down on that hire, or could you accept it?
It's an acceptable consolation prize, but still, it's Vrabel.
Wow, that's a lot of Vrabel.
That's a lot of
And
Vrabel.
you know, I know Simmons is probably watching the show. I am very happy about the fact that Mike Vrabel is not going to New England.
Right.
Like, Gerard Mayo may be a great head coach. I have no idea. I know Mike Vrabel can get the most out of a team. Sal, I'm very relieved I don't have to deal with Vrabel twice in my division next year.
Yeah, you're good. But out of these choices, thanks for nothing here, Jay in Cincinnati. We got 3 octogenarians here between Saban, Carroll, and Belichick. I mean, this is not a long-range plan, right? We get them just for next year.
Next year.
Yeah. Josh McDaniels isn't even in. Okay. If I can't get Chris Christie or Josh McDaniels, I go Pete Carroll, I guess. He still chews gum like a 17-year-old.
You like him chewing gum and going nuts on the
Yeah,
sidelines.
it's
Okay.
a little lively.
Do I get Tom Brady if I pick Belichick?
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
There might be a disclaimer there.
If I can get Tom Brady, then give me Belichick. Otherwise,
We wouldn't start Brady over Dak at this point. Come on.
I'd start Brady over anybody.
Oh, my God.
I'd start
He
Brady
wants
over
the voodoo. That's why you.
I start Brady over my mom.
Oh.
wow.
I haven't seen her throw.
No, but really, I'm going to choose Belichick. We know as much as I like to tease him about being Jeff Fisher with the hoodie without Tom Brady, but at the end of the day, he's going to give your team a top-tier defense. He's going to get the most out of a team. He might even cheat.
Hey.
How about the possibility, and we'll get to this tomorrow when we do our show and we preview the Cowboys and the Packers. Do you think there's credence, Sal, in the idea that if the Cowboys lost outright to the Green Bay Packers, that Belichick could be coaching your team next year?
I just don't see it with Jerry Jones, and I don't buy the lip service either, where he's like, oh, he's absolutely fine, Mike McCarthy for next year. I don't necessarily buy that, but it takes so. I mean, you saw Jason Garrett, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to listen to him tonight. But you saw Jason Garrett and how hideous he had to be before they finally parted ways. I don't think McCarthy's gone after this game.
You buying that, Raheem?
I think he's gone.
Wow.
You think with a loss to the Packers, he should be gone, by the way.
If he does not win today, he's done.
And I know it's a situation, House, where McCarthy would have 3 consecutive years of double-digit wins, but, I mean, Jerry Jones wants to win. He has not been in an NFC title game since Michael Jordan was playing basketball.
We don't know that. We don't know that he wants to win. There's no evidence of that.
Well, that's the only proper ambition with this Dallas team. It's not enough to go get double-digit wins. Congratulations for the pat on the back for winning the NFC East. That's great. You can hang that banner. Get to the NFC conference title game, and then we can talk.
Well, and the way it now has been set up for the Dallas Cowboys, there's no excuse not to get to the NFC title game. You don't want to tell me you guys go and lose to San Francisco, who's your daddy. Okay, I can accept that. You have Green Bay at home. If you win that game, it's Detroit or whoever at home. You got to be in the NFC title game, Dream.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's Detroit or the Rams, and we dominated the Rams. So you have to win. You have to go to the NFC Championship game, and you cannot lose tomorrow as 7.5-point favorites. You can't.
And by the way, Sal, I have the Cowboys. You don't want to hear this. In every tease, every parlay, I have the Cowboys.
I'm with you.
Every which way. Buyer beware.
You got to do it, and I heard Dream talking about it. It's the tease team of the decade, really. Put it with Joey Chestnut. I don't know. Can we tease him over 66.5 hot dogs?
Ooh.
Anything. Cowboys
Hot dogs.
on a
We're going to have to, and not only that, I also want to keep your hot dog prop for later tonight. I don't know if you're going to be involved with that. Apparently, House has been doing nothing but eat. Rumor has it there is another trophy presentation coming our way.
Oh.
Let's take a look at we have. Let's see it.
Ringer Wise Guy, man's best bet. I am here with the king of the dogs, the one, the only, Joe House, who just put down a seafood tower.
House, I'm seeing you look at a hot dog. I thought maybe there was some audio to
beautiful
this.
Chicago dog from Pink's, the famous Pink's in Los Angeles, California. The king of the dogs is here to enjoy these beautiful dogs right here. Yeah. Why wouldn't we? Thank God.
Good,
and thank God for the underdogs.
Thank you to the Green Bay Packers,
The New York Giants, the Carolina Panthers. I'd like to thank the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns, right?
These are all moneyline dogs, by
New
the way.
England Patriots against Denver? Wasn't that one?
I don't think I had that one. I had a number.
The Arizona Cardinals?
Thank God for everyone. Yeah.
Well, I hope that dog of the week treated you well. You didn't make a mess, which is stunning.
One of those was a Chicago dog. So I really want to celebrate all those dogs that came through for me this year.
And there were a lot of them. And on that note, Joe House, in the first ever year of Ringer Wise Guys, we salute you, the champion of Dog of the Week. You are our top dog. What do we have for our buddy Joe House?
Can I get a dog?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, look at this thing.
What the hell?
How is the dog?
Wait a minute.
What do we got? A dog trophy?
Wait a minute.
Better than the-
Who's the Dom the dog
Oh, it's not
here?
even close.
What is this?
The dog trophy is better than the Wise Guys trophy.
I think it's right.
Man's best bet, top dog, Joe House.
Top dog. Look at that. Amazing. I accept this. I'd like to thank the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, the Cleveland Browns. There were a lot of stinky dogs this year that came through for me. I had to work very hard. I had to hold my nose. I had to, well, we won't talk about, how bad it smelled in the bathroom as I tried to make these picks. But thank you, and I look forward to repeating next year.
You know what? Can I just say something? I had to go to some cockamamie party where my 10-year-old son got a trophy for coming in 9th place in his fantasy
That's
league.
a disgrace.
And this
9th
infuriates
place?
me more. Look how big this trophy is. Compared to best bets.
I thought you were going to go on a lecture with
Best bets is best
They
bets.
gave you a WNBA trophy.
Right. Exactly.
That's W's.
With the W's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to get on you for the loser mentality, which, by the way, is
Yeah.
1,000% right. You should not be getting a trophy for coming in
Right.
9th place. Who knew that dog? I would have put more
for you,
effort into
Al.
man's best bet this year if I would have known I was getting that trophy.
Good for you.
No, right?
All right. Congratulations.
Well, job well done. I
try
look forward
harder.
to you traveling
We'll try
back
hard
with that
next
to
year.
Washington, D.C. We got some YouTube comments. Let's hit one. This one comes from Chill Guy. Instead of football, can we just get House talking about everything he has eaten this weekend at the Simmons compound? So, care to share?
Well, I mean, I did declare that it's Fat January, and I did hit the ground running. The first thing that we ate, I can't remember the name of the place. He ordered these bagels, and we had some blueberry bagels. I got a lot of commentary from my Jewish friends.
Oh, nice.
That they are not happy with the Jewish bagel. Apparently, I mean
With the blueberry bagel?
Yeah.
Why?
Ooh, I'd be out on a blueberry bagel. I love blueberries, just
Well,
not with a
it
bagel.
I
was
think
like
I
a
just had
dessert.
one like 20 minutes ago.
It's like a kind of a dessert thing, and it's a nice, easy way to enter into the day. I understand trying to stay in order with authenticity, but there were bagels, had a seafood tower.
Seafood tower looked
What's the
badass.
name of the place?
Connie and Ted's.
Connie and Ted's.
spot.
Amazing, amazing. The freshest seafood. You can see them preparing the fish right there. We got some Italian from John and Vinny's in. I mean, we've been all over
House
the place.
is coming to travel. You
Yeah.
know this. House is going to eat, and he's going to eat in a big way. So, job well done. I'm glad your stomach
That
is
he should get a trophy for. But
Okay,
that's,
well, I
the
can't wait to
underdog
see.
thing. I don't know.
We'll work on that next year's show.
Right.
Guys, we got a lot more coming up. We got another game to get to. The Miami Dolphins taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Wise Guys from L.A. We're coming right back. got to mute. They got to mute.
No, it'll
They gotta mute the TV. Mute the TV.
Okay.
Welcome back to Ringer Wise, guys. Live from Los Angeles. The gang is here. Cousin Sal, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and John Jastremski. Reminder, we will be back at our normal time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. I mean, eventually I'm going to get this West Coast thing down. But we got 3 games to break down for Super Wild Card Weekend. But, fellas, it's time to wisen up for the second time today. Let's see it. Beautiful. Chiefs, Dolphins. Line is 4.5. Total in the low 40s. Guys, how many times have you heard about how lousy and how miserable the weather is going to be in Kansas City?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll remind you one more time. Sub-zero temperatures, frigid. The numbers for Miami, terrible in cold weather historically. The numbers for Tua, terrible historically. Yet this line is maybe a little lower than what I thought it was going to be Sunday and Monday, considering all of the injuries and all of the obstacles for the Miami Dolphins. Sal, I will start with you. I know the Dolphins were very kind to you all season, whether you picked with them or against them, whatever the case may be. Who do we have for Dolphins and Chiefs?
You are being sarcastic because your team has crushed me. They beat me up last week, Sunday night. I liked them against the Bills. The week before, my word, I mean, for me to win a trophy, they probably should take it away for taking your Dolphins over the Ravens. That was disgusting. But I'm looking here, and I'm still going to take them plus the 4.5, JJ. I know McDaniels knows about Tua's struggles, right? He's going to have some kind of plan and just keep it simple. Don't get cute. Run the ball. You got Achane, who averages almost 8 yards a carry. As a team, most of it will be back. You average as a team over 5 yards a carry. And what is it? Against the 17th ranked run defense, not great. They allowed the Chiefs 113 yards on the ground a game. They have long sustained drives, the Chiefs. They're not this Arrowhead monster that scores 35, 42 points. 20.8% of their drives end in touchdowns. That's just above the league average. That's not terrific, not out of this world high like it's been in the past. I'm picking the Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins to win.
Wow.
21-20.
Wow. From your lips to God's ears, considering the Miami Dolphins have not won a playoff game since 2001. 2 decades ago.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I got a trophy stuck in my ear.
House, it's funny. Last week, watching
It's
the
broke
Dolphins.
already.
Look, it broke.
Oh,
you
man.
got screwed. You know what? That's what you get for
Just
winning
a
Wisest
1W.
wager.
Here,
Screwed.
If you hit
it's
that
now-
Miami dog, I'll give you this trophy.
That's it. Give it to him.
Now it's just wager. That's it.
Just wager.
man.
The Buffalo game last week, my initial thought was, and Simmons texted us this, and I agree with him, Miami got away from the run. But in reality, if you go back and watch the tape of that game, Buffalo in the second half took it away from them. They started stacking the box. Miami did not have Jalen Waddle, and they said, okay, go and throw the ball to Cedric Wilson and Braxton Berrios. And with the game on the line, to a bad throw, bad decision, but you got an inexperienced receiver running the wrong route, and Chase Claypool is the guy that's deciding the division title. So Kansas City and Steve Spagnuolo, I'm sure, are going to have similar principles. We don't know yet if Jalen Waddle is going to play. Sal on the Miami Dolphins for Wisest Wager. House, I know I gave you a long diatribe there, but what are we thinking?
Well, we're thinking the same kind of thing. I mean, JJ, I came prepared. Look at this. I had it, put it right into the wardrobe. Earlier this week, this line was 3.5, and the fact that it's moved to 4.5, that's what pushed me. When we did East Coast Bias this week, we talked about the possibility of Kansas City in a smash spot kind of posture. I think that there are a couple factors working in Miami's favor at this 4.5 number. I'm not willing to lay that 4.5 with this version of the Chiefs. I think everybody's mind's eye has a version of the Chiefs that doesn't exist. It didn't exist this season. It's a defensive team. It's a low-scoring team. We watched these two teams play in Germany in absolutely perfect conditions, and there was very little scoring, and it was a defensive struggle. The Dolphins' defense, even with the injuries in the linebacking core, I don't love it. but I think some of that gets neutralized by virtue of this weather. And if we accept that the weather is going to basically neutralize the passing game kind of on both sides, then I like Miami's rushing game better than Kansas City's rushing game. And Miami's rush attack against a bottom 5 Kansas City run defense. That's the thing. On an EPA basis, on a DVOA basis, it's a defense that can be run upon. Now, to your point, will Spagnuolo stack the box and require Tua to make some plays on the outside? Waddle's going to play. I mean, come on. Waddle's going to play.
Better play.
Waddle's going to play.
Better play.
And Tyreek, hopefully he found the hyperbaric chamber between last week against Buffalo and today that he's recovered. If you have Tyreek Hill, not a guy who's going to have a problem with the cold, has played in the cold before. Mm-hmm. So if they get him the ball, if Tua's only comfortable on jet sweeps and giving him the ball in the backfield, then do that. That's fine. I like Tyreek Hill. I just think that the Dolphins at this number are very live, and I understand where Sal's coming from with the money line play.
An obvious revenge spot for Tyreek Hill. This is his first game at Arrowhead Stadium. Played against the Chiefs in Germany. Played poorly, for what it's worth, in that game in Germany. Got stripped, ended up getting a pick six, fumble six, whatever you want to call it. And that touchdown maybe was the difference in the game. Okay, Raheem, I'm stunned because I never in a million years thought we'd have two guys right out of the gate taking my team against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead Stadium in the postseason. You're not playing the side. You are going to handicap this game from a total standpoint.
Yes, I mean, I'm not really stunned with their pick because when you look at the game that they played in London, it closes Dolphins -1. And it was a lot of sharp money on the Dolphins in that game. And I know the Dolphins have a ton of injuries coming into this game, but how much is too much? Like, at some point, it's just over-adjusted. Now, I'm going to play the under 43.5. It was 44.5. 44 is key, but I still like the under. The first time these two teams played, you got a 21-14 game, and one of the scores was a Tyreek Hill fumble touchdown return. So neither one of these two teams are scoring very much. You look at the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill's a little banged up, Jalen Waddle's banged up, Raheem Mostert's banged up. You got really freezing temperatures right now. And then also, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not the offensive-minded team that they were before. They win with defense. In the red zone, they're only scoring touchdowns on 57% of their red zone drives. So I just think you're going to get a low-scoring game, and this is probably 21-17.
I love the under in this game. Fellas, full disclosure, I thought I was coming in today and I was going to be the only person on this panel that was going to pick the Miami Dolphins. I go through our picks. I see Sal's taking Miami. I see House is taking Miami. I now feel sick about the fact that all of us are on the Miami Dolphins. But I do believe there's something to be said for this nobody believes in us narrative that Simmons loves to talk about all the time. Everyone is looking at the forecast and is saying, Miami, you have no chance to win this game. Tua, you have no chance to win this game. Miami Dolphin defense, no Bradley Chubb, no Jalen Phillips, no Xavier Howard. We don't know if Javon Holland is going to play. But yet I think it can be, in many ways here, this sort of galvanizing force because Kansas City does not have the firepower that they normally have in these particular spots. You know, normally, Sal, you look at Kansas City and they're playing at Arrowhead Stadium and you're like, Mahomes is going to go for 30+. Kelsey's going to go for 150. They're going to be throwing the ball all over the place. But that version of the Kansas City Chiefs, it just has not been there at any point this year. Mm-hmm. Is there any reason to believe, though, that maybe Kelsey, knowing it's playoff time, you used to see this with Gronk all the time, he'd kind of coast his way through the regular season and maybe would be able to kick it into another notch come playoff time? Could we see that with Kelsey?
Well, we've seen it before, and I have more to say that with my prop, but I think he went the last 5 weeks without scoring in the regular season last year and then turned it on in the playoffs. But honestly, what's the Chiefs over-under point total? 24, 24.5? Can you get to 20? Because I don't think the Chiefs are going to top their point total. Just the way they have those long drives, you got to get to 20. You got to run the ball. You got to let them not take that away from you. And you have to cover, JJ, because I'm telling you, if you don't, I am not driving you back to your hotel, and you will not.
That's fine. Uber does exist.
You're
I'll be
not
okay.
gonna have enough money for Uber.
That's all right. I'll be able to find a way.
All right.
I love the under in this game. I guess the only path, Raheem, to this maybe siding with the over is some wonky, wacky turnover luck.
And we got wacky turnover luck in the last game, and it still didn't go over because at the end of the day, the Chiefs' second halves always go under. Like Sal's told us that many times before. And then when you look at the temperature, the weather is really the great equalizer here. If you look at temperatures under 6 degrees, you're talking about 7-1 to the under. So if this game goes over, it really would shock me.
You know, I look at this game, House, and I know a lot of people are going to be on the side of Kansas City. I expect Kansas City to be in a lot of parlays and a lot of teases. Arrowhead is one of the great home field advantages in the NFL. But I have to wonder. Now, listen, the Chief fan is kind of going through what the Yankee fan went through, what the Patriot fan went through, where they're kind of spoiled. They're kind of entitled. They're kind of used to being in this particular spot. You know, the ticket price to get in the building, and again, you'd have to pay me thousands of dollars, thousands, to go and sit in sub-zero temperatures, even with the Dolphins playing a playoff game. You could get in that building for $20 to $25. Do you think we get a neutralized home field at Arrowhead because of the conditions?
Well, sure, and it's already a neutralized home field Arrowhead. They went 4-4 at home this season. They lost to the Raiders 3 weeks ago. So we're already in that spot. And look, I mean, you know, God, I hope they have plenty of methods of keeping the fans there warm. But, like, you know, you're risking your health going to that game.
I mean, how much would you have to be paid to go and sit at Dolphins Chiefs tonight?
$2,000.
Not enough for me.
That's cheap. Right?
Not enough.
Thought about this.
Not enough. I did. I was planning on asking you guys.
I don't think it's as hard as. Oh, I think it's harder than you think, actually. Go watch, freeze your ass off for 3.5 hours, or stay home and listen to Jason Garrett call this game for 3.5 hours.
I'll take the quapper for 3.5 hours.
You're crazy. You're the insane one.
What can I say? All right, coming up, Brian Barrett from the Off the Pike podcast apparently has a pick, and there's no way, spoiler alert, he's picking the Miami Dolphins. Let's hear it.
What's up, Wise guys? My Patriots are nowhere near the playoffs. It has been a difficult week here in Patriot land. As you guys all know, Bill Belichick is gone. I'm sad. It's unfortunate. So you know what we got to do? We got to win some money this weekend. So let's get to the team that people think could be the next dynasty, the Chiefs, despite their rough season this year. By the way, one thing I will say is the Chiefs are never going to have the success the Patriots have over this 20-year period. But the other thing we can never entertain is Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time in the conversation with Tom Brady. Brady beat him twice in the playoffs. He beat him in the 18 conference championship game. And of course, we all know the Chiefs would have beat the Rams in the Super Bowl that season. And Brady beat him in the Super Bowl when he was a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's got 2 wins in the playoffs over him. Mahomes could easily already have 4 Super Bowls. So that conversation is done. I don't want to ever entertain that. Anyway, I digress. As the Patriots are nowhere near the playoffs, so let's get into this game. So the Chiefs are hosting JJ's Dolphins. And one thing, speaking of the Patriots dynasty and the Chiefs becoming the next dynasty, how about the fact the Dolphins could have had Drew Brees if they didn't misevaluate his shoulder situation? JJ, your team could have had Nick Saban and Drew Brees going up against Belichick and Brady. That would have been fun. Maybe the Patriots dynasty looks a little bit differently if that was the case. And you know what? I mean, I guess looking back, you got to watch Dante Culpepper a little bit. You got to watch Joe Philbin eventually coach that team. So I'm sure you're happy with how that resulted in terms of how they evaluated Drew Brees' shoulder. But anyway, let's get to this huge game. This is my same game parlay for Chiefs and Dolphins plus 253. I like the Chiefs to win the game, unfortunately, JJ. So I like the Chiefs on the money line. Rashee Rice, alternate receiving yards of 50. He's gone over this in 6 straight games. And I like Isaiah Pacheco for an anytime touchdown. So that's plus 253. Chiefs on the money line. Rashee Rice, alternate receiving yards of 50. Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown, plus 253. What do you think, Wise guys?
Barrett, you really had to go there with Drew Brees and Dante Culpepper. Talk about a decision that I wanted to block out from my memory for the entirety of the rest of my life. Yet here we are. I got to hear about Dante Culpepper, Drew Brees, and Nick Saban. Get serious.
It had to be said.
I thought he had a good bet.
Yeah.
I hope that bet goes down in flames. I mean, so should you. You bet on the Miami Dolphins today.
I think they're going to cover.
I'm going to be honest with you. He spent so much time talking about the Patriots that I just completely blocked it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right, guys, let's have some fun with some props and some other assorted details of Dolphins and Chiefs. I'm going to surprise you guys. Durham Smythe. I know a lot of you watching Ringer Wise guys are like, Durham, who? Notre Dame tight end. little used Dolphin tight end. All of a sudden, he has become far more involved in the pass game. Maybe it's because of the injuries to Jalen Waddle. Maybe it's because you have teams trying to take away the running game. You're going to try to take away Tyreek. You're going to try to take away Jalen Waddle if he plays. Over 17.5 receiving yards. You like a tight end, Sal?
Yeah.
Durham Smythe, he's going over that total today.
If you didn't tell me, I would have thought he was the striker for Chelsea today.
Well, you learn something new every day, and that's what you get when you get insider info when it comes to your football team. Raheem, what are we taking from a prop standpoint?
We're going Harrison Butker, over 6.5 kicking points. We talked about how we like the under. We talked about the weather. We talked about the Chiefs and their struggles to score in the red zone, 54%. Well, all you need is 2 field goals and 1 extra point, and you're there.
So, okay, 2 field goals, 1 extra point in the bag. Are you concerned at all about the frigid sub-zero temperatures and the idea of kicking a football in that weather?
I'm not scared at all.
Not at all.
Because at the end of the day, I just think if they get to, the 20 to 30-yard line, Harrison Butker, he's proven, he has the pedigree, he's going to get it done.
He is automatic. He is one of the better kickers in the NFL. And I guess from a kicking standpoint, that's not going to worry you nearly as much as what we'll have Sunday with Buffalo and Pittsburgh, where with that wind and the snow, I wouldn't play any kicker prop. I don't think I'd play any prop from an over standpoint, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. House, what do you got on this game?
Well, I mean, it's somewhat obvious, but it's correlated to the script that I think plays out here, and it's Tua under 229.5 passing yards. Available on the FanDuel Sportsbook at -114. So I just don't envision a game script that permits him to throw the ball sufficient number of times, or in terms of the way these possessions are going to go. I think the observation we've made about the Chiefs on long, sustained drives, that it's just not going to permit enough time, enough opportunities for Tua. And it also is not their winning game script. Their winning game script is run and run and run and run and run. And maybe a quick pass, a small pass, something to advance, something on a down and distance kind of basis. But 230 yards is not really in the game plan today.
I'm right there with you. That almost seems too good to be true.
Oh,
that's what I mean. That's why I almost would be a little concerned with that prop, because on the surface, Miami, you would think with Mostert coming back and with Devon Achane, they're going to look to run the ball a ton. If we're talking about long, sustained drives, that means you're not going to have many opportunities to go and throw the ball. But 230, that seems obvious.
Well, for House to lose, I think it has to be similar to last week, where they take away your running game and force him to throw if they're down 14-3.
The only thing scary about that prop is that we know Tyreek Hill can break one.
Where he gets a 70 or 80-yard touchdown, even if it's on a screen, boom, to the house.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Sal, your prop.
Well, you mentioned Tyreek Hill, and this is, by the way, FanDuel does a great job. They know doom is upon us in a few weeks. We have no football to bet. So they have our backs. They have all these specialty props, and here's one that jumped out at me. Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill to score the first touchdown at +360. These are the bread and butter guys for both teams. Now, you could say Kelce, wow, he's been a shell of himself, but what says that we're back more than a Travis Kelce touchdown to start the game? Well, even if it's a shovel pass from 1 yard away.
You want to talk about insufferable? If I have to see that and then Taylor Swift hooting and hollering, I might.
What kind of crazy momentum would they have, right? And then on the other side, you have Tyreek Hill, 13 touchdowns. Between the two of them, they have 31 red zone targets. So I like them combining forces. They're not on the same team, but, you don't have to worry if one has the ball or the other has the ball. You have an option either way, Hill or Kelce to score the first touchdown, +3.
All right, so you're going Hill or Kelce to score the first touchdown. Yeah. Any thoughts on a first touchdown, Dolphins, Chiefs? Putting you on the spot.
Ooh, I'm going to go with, if Raheem Mostert plays, that's what I'm going to go with.
See, I'm going to go the other running back. I'm going to say Devon Achane.
Oh, okay.
Devon Achane, breaking one of those outside runs.
There's got to be some good odds because of the split-up opportunity.
Actually, I'm changing my pick. I'm going with Pacheco.
Pacheco, you're going with a Chief guy.
Yeah, I'm going with a Chief guy.
Any thoughts on a first touchdown?
One of those Miami running backs, whichever one has better odds, that's the way I would play it.
We're probably going to get better odds on Achane.
Yeah, there's too many people on the Dolphins here, and I think this is a bad omen. I'm sorry.
Well, the one thing I would say, though, about the Dolphins, from a touchdown standpoint, they have like 1 or 3 guys that score touchdowns.
Right.
Like, literally. It's going to be the 2 running backs, Tyreek, and if it's not Tyreek, maybe Jalen Waddle. Like, Durham Smythe, Alec Ingold, not scoring a touchdown. I hope they score 5 today.
So Achane's the best value out of those guys we mentioned. He's 10-1. Tyreek,
that.
950. Kelce, 650. Pacheco, 5-1. Mostert, I missed his +850. And Durham Smith, 34-1.
He has not scored a touchdown all year. I'm not betting on that.
All right.
I'll pass. Guys, let's
Already
get to our
abandoned.
family meal. The family meal actually has all of us in studio, all of us contributing. Thankfully, House ate enough food, so we didn't bring any food into our Spotify studios. But House, you are the king of the appetizer. We will start with you. What are you bringing to the table here?
I got a Saturday Night Fever teaser because we have this beautiful Saturday night matchup that caps off these games. So I am teasing the Houston Texans from the 2.5 spot up to 8.5. We're through the 3 and the 7 that way. And then I know, as a matter of principle, that you do not tease totals. However, in this,
you got
Kansas
limited
City,
resources here today. I think it's allowed. Even Raheem is going to allow it today.
Yeah, I can rock with that.
There's 2 games.
This Kansas City Miami game, teasing that number from 43.5 up to 49.5.
I love that.
They under with that, plus the Texans at 8.5. That's a great way.
Number
to get this
2,
started.
44, 40.
That sounds like an amazing teaser. Let's fire right now. FanDuel, place the bet for me. I love it. House is going to cash that one. What do you got for us, Raheem?
Absolutely love it. I love the Houston Texans as a teaser leg, so I agree with House. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to play a future. Kansas City Chiefs, 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. I know people are looking at this like it's crazy, but the Kansas City Chiefs, they remind me of the 2017-2018 Cleveland Cavaliers. That's the year where they traded Kyrie Irving. And if you look at the Cavaliers that year, they struggled offensively. They didn't have a lot of pop. But everybody else sucked. Everybody. I mean, you're talking about the Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors. That's what the AFC reminds me of. Everybody else stinks.
Except for Baltimore.
Except for Baltimore.
I was going to say, Baltimore right now looks like the top dog.
But Baltimore still has playoff demons.
Well, more especially.
So
got to win in the playoffs.
You're looking at a team that's 4.5-point favorites against Miami.
I like this.
Everybody's in the hospital. Then they may have to go on and take the Buffalo Bills or the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, if Pittsburgh beats Buffalo, unlikely.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh 9.5-point dog. You would have Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore. You would have Kansas City taking on the winner of Cleveland-Houston. But still, would be favored in either one of those spots.
But even if they go to Buffalo, the 1 point, one and a half,
point,
whatever.
And then, to me, the Ravens still have demons. They haven't been there. And if you're telling me Patrick Mahomes over anybody in the AFC Championship game, I'm riding with Patrick Mahomes. So 10-1, you're never going to get this price.
It's a good price, and you know what I like about it too, fellas? If you get Kansas City through to the Super Bowl, even if it's against San Francisco, you're getting a good hedge number there, Raheem.
Exactly.
You're getting a good hedge number. Listen, I hope it goes down in flames because I hope we're talking about the Dolphins winning today. But I think from a logistical standpoint, that is an excellent bet.
Well, if they win, I think it cuts more than in half. I think they're like plus 375 if they win, impressively today.
Guys, I got a 2-team parlay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm taking Cleveland on the money line. I know you're not going to like it. I'm not going to deal with the points. Joe Flacco, undefeated in the wild card round. I think that trend continues, and you're going to like this from a total standpoint. We're going to parlay the Brownies with the under in the Miami-Kansas City game. I don't know how you go and play the over. Conditions, Miami, Tua, Kansas City defense, Kansas City's offense not being the same. Let's go with a 2-team money line parlay. Kansas City, Miami under, Cleveland money line under. Away we go. What do we got, Sal?
Is the under? What's the over/under difference in these two games? A point?
A point.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's stupid, right?
In a dome.
Do they know? Is anyone talking about the weather even? No, that's all they're talking about. I got something that's, it's more fun than anything. It's a successful 2-point conversion in each of the 2 games today. You get 11-1 odds. Shot in the dark, of course.
That is a monstrous shot.
Well, there's going to be a lot of scoring in that first one, right? So 26-20, I think, any little screw up, any kind of advantage you want to get from aggressive coaches, and then you're just going into the second game, and I think there's an opportunity there. So it's more fun than anything.
Listen, you want some fun bets.
I like this
Throw
one.
some lottery tickets out there. So we need a 2-point conversion in Cleveland and Houston, and we got to find a way to hedge that maybe going to the next game.
We got to figure out. Maybe bet Syracuse? Is that
well, we're on that. That is the 9 o'clock play. Syracuse plus the points against Carolina. We have playoff specials. So FanDuel, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has all of these great bets as far as most passing yards in the postseason, as far as most rushing yards in the postseason. So we all got in the lab and figured we would go and bring a contribution to the table. Raheem, I'll start with you. What is your playoff special?
This is just another way of playing Kansas City futures. We're going to go Chris Jones, most sacks, 20-1 in the postseason. just another creative way to play those Kansas City futures. Hopefully, this doesn't go up in flames today, but
I hope it does.
If it does, it'll keep you guys on the East Coast a little warm. Guys on the West Coast, you can use it as a camping trip or something. I don't know.
Weekly playoff special. Not a weekly, but a playoff nonetheless.
Yeah, so one of the props that FanDuel is offering is most rushing touchdowns over the entire playoffs. I'm just going with CMC. Like, why not?
Run DMC?
Run.
Who?
Christian McCaffrey, the San Francisco 49ers. They have a week off. He's getting nice and healthy, but I like them in terms of all of their outcomes, if their pathway to success to the Super Bowl. Feature him healthy, feature him getting in the end zone. I can get to 5 touchdowns and maybe talk myself into 6. And I look at the board, I don't see anybody else in that class.
So you like CMC enough to basically spot everybody else another game.
See, that's my problem. I feel like with these bets, you have to go and get guys that are playing in the wild card round, but you almost have to kind of factor in, hey, who is going to win multiple games in order to,
I meant to look back on this, but I bet Jalen Hurts had I bet the 1 seed
he was
probably
close.
had the last year, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. But go ahead. Our bets play into this. Right?
Okay, I'll let you go first.
Well, I am completely taking advantage of thinking Buffalo is going to roll over Pittsburgh, and you get the free game. And Josh Allen at 4-1. By the way, this was 5-1 a couple of days ago to have the most passing yards in the playoffs. The wind, you talk about the wind is also going his way for 30 minutes. So he could throw for like 1,200 yards.
And 60-mile-an-hour winds, even if it's at your back, who the hell cares?
You ever see cartoons? Bugs Bunny, it works all the time. Game in hand, same reasoning to take Dak. Sorry to spoil it for you, but he's twice the odds of Dak, who also should roll. I like Buffalo in this spot. I like Josh Allen.
So you're right about it being twice the odds, but I'm going to get Dak in optimal conditions against a Packer defense that is putrid. Putrid. So I expect Dak to go and have a monstrous game tomorrow. Spoiler alert for what we'll have on Ringer Wise Guys come Sunday. Then you might have Dak against Detroit's defense or the Los Angeles Rams and their secondary. Sign me up right now for Dak having 2 monstrous games.
All right, I like your style.
There we go. I finally won something on Ringer Wise Guys. Here we go. I get a W. Dak Prescott will have the most passing yards in this postseason. I know the odds aren't juicy. I don't care. I like it.
All right.
I like it. Guys, we survived our first ever show in person. We need to make a lot of money today.
Let's do it.
We need to make a lot of money. This was a ton of fun. As a parting thought, Dolphin, Brown, moneyline parlay. Who says no?
I say no.
You're out.
Dream says no.
You're out too.
I'm in, and Simmons and I have a shaky same-game parlay for those of you to chew on there. Mojo potatoes for all when it comes in. It is Browns dependent. Now we'll see.
Ooh, I look forward to seeing that. For Cousin Sal, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, John Jastremski signing off. We are going to be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same studio. The Wise Guys will reunite.
Same crappy
Hopefully I'm
trophies.
not crying and singing Taylor Swift after the Chiefs send the Dolphins home. It's been 20-plus years. Did my team win a playoff game?
W now? What
I don't know. It's missing. Boys are out. We'll see you next week. No, tomorrow. Be good, everybody.
Oh, my God.